Hi. Um, so for those of you who know me, this is new. For those of you who don't know me, this is also new. I decided this year, in the year of 2026, I would like to start a podcast. Is it an alpha male podcast? Probably. I foresee myself turning into an alpha male. No. This is what I like to call faking it. It is not professional, like in the filming setup whatsoever, yet. Maybe it will become, maybe it won't. But that's the point. It's a podcast of becoming. It's not supposed to be the be-all, end-all of answers that you might acquire or require. It is just a 20-year-old performer who feels not alone, but alone in the feelings I have, and has thought maybe I should share my feelings I have with someone. I have some knowledge. I studied 4 years at Waterfront Theatre School, where I got 3 degrees in teaching dance. I did a lot of anatomy study, which you'll hear me talk about a lot. I have worked overseas. I'm currently working at a theatre where I'm training to become an ASM, assistant stage manager. So I have a lot of opinions, I have a lot of theories, and they might change. And that's the beauty of it, because I feel like a lot of people always speak as if they have the answer, but I don't. I have a answer, I don't have the answer. So yeah, basically these podcasts also, let me tell you about the concept. It's like a multitasking thing, because that's what we almost do. But that's so much better. Hold on, let me fix that. That is so much better. It's a multitasking podcast. So basically I will be doing my makeup or something related to work that I have, and I yap whilst I do it. If you are listening to this, this doesn't pertain to you. If you're watching this pertains to you. Yeah, so let's get on to the topic for today. Also, I look like a mess, please excuse me. This is why I'm putting makeup on. I have had tech week for 3 weeks, basically. We're working because we had a bunch of shows move in. Yesterday was opening night. Our day off is only in 2 days, so excuse that. But anyways, that's very on theme for today. My topic is what keeps you going. I've written down some things, but I'm also mostly just gonna yap as I go. So I'm kidding. This is a very important topic, I feel, that isn't spoken enough about. It's all like, you need to keep going, you need to find the motivation, you need to just keep going, it's a given that everyone has to constantly be working at their best 100% of the time. But that's the issue. Everyone's working, but no one knows why. What is your purpose? And I am currently not struggling, but I am finding difficulty with that, because I'm doing a lot of things and I'm trying to balance a lot of balls and juggle a lot of things. But I realized I don't actually know why. What is, I have it and I've been blessed to be born, or my circumstances have created this internal drive, this internal need to improve. But I've realized that I have a lot of imposter syndrome, because I feel like I'm not doing enough to become better or become what I want to be. And I think it links, I'm very thirsty, so I think it links to what keeps me going, what is my reasoning. My list is personal struggles. So personally, I feel like I'm not doing enough, which I know is a lie, because I'm currently in talks to work internationally again. I am working at a theatre right now. I have a plan that for the year where basically I only have 1 month off. And this is also, so fun fact, last year, which was my first year graduated, I worked overseas in Greece as a dancer and a kids club animator. I am happy with the fact that I'm working overseas and not in South Africa because I realized I want to travel and I want to see the world, so that's fine, that's perfect. What was bothering me a lot though was social media, which I don't hate. Social media is a useful tool, especially in our career, because that's where I found this job. But I have found I was comparing myself to a lot of the people I studied with, and they were on cruise ships, and I found myself wondering, like, wow, what am I doing? Like, I worked as hard, if not harder than some of them. Like, no shame, they all did work hard, but there are some where it's like, I definitely know I put in more hours, but they are here working on cruise ships, which isn't a glamorous life, I know, but they are purely dancing, and here I am also taking care of kids at the same time. Like, oh, I'm gonna sweat this off. Anyways, that's a side note. And I spent a lot of last year, like, I was happy with my choice, and I potentially am going back there because I enjoy that place, but I spent a lot wondering, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I get the easy access to the pure dance life that they got? Why do I first have to struggle as well with what they call animation, which it is a struggle. It's like, it's a difficult part. Like, you have to be friendly to people all the time. Some people just aren't built for it. I am a very outgoing person, but I did realize my battery and my social battery drained a lot faster because obviously I have to keep on talking to people, and I put in a lot of effort to whatever I do. And I was putting in so much effort into the animation part that the dance part was lacking. That's another struggle I had. But anyways, comparison. So I was comparing myself to other people. And I know you shouldn't. And in theory and on paper, I don't. And in theory and paper, everyone tries not to. But you still do. You still open and go, oh, that's my dream job. Oh, or for example, I auditioned for 2 musicals that are coming around South Africa. I didn't get either. When studying at a musical theatre place and you don't get the auditions, I also, at my university, I didn't book lead roles. I didn't get into the musicals. And I was as talented and hardworking as everyone else. And it's still a question I'm struggling with now, is the why I didn't. And I realized now this year, I've done a lot of self-reflecting over the past year. I've realized in order to book things and to be hireable, you also need to be a human being. So I spend so much time, because I am a hard worker. I sound like I'm so full of myself. I promise I'm not. I just have done a lot of self-reflection. Like, I know for example, my pirouettes aren't the cleanest. My jumps aren't probably the highest. My technique isn't the cleanest. When I perform, I lose sight of technique, but I can perform the shit out of something, and I'm a hard worker. I will come to rehearsal prepared. I will listen. I will apply. I have those traits. I know that. But why am I still not getting things? And I realized you have to be a human being in order to book. Because if you are just so technical about life that all you care about is your job, it will consume you, and you will get anxious and sad and stressed, and you won't be able to fully let go. For example, singing is not my high point. Singing is not my best point. I can sing, I can hold a note. I consider myself, I describe myself as an ensemble singer. I'm not a lead role singer yet. That's fine. It's a process. I haven't been singing for as long as I've been dancing. That's another struggle I had to face. But, what was I saying? Oh, I'm not a lead role singer yet. But I came back and I had another audition for another musical after I went to Greece. I could only squeeze in one lesson with my vocal coach. And she'd been my vocal coach throughout my university days as well. She's literally seen me like from like age 15. Also, that's another thing. I started university at 15, if you didn't know. She saw me like started 15, scared, terrified, maybe a bit egotistical, grow into even more terrified, even more hard on myself. And like, I was under the impression my entire like studying career that I can't sing, that I'm a terrible singer, and that I'll never make it as a singer. Then I casually sing at work in Greece, and people are like, "Oh my god, you're so good," and I'm like, "No, guys, I'm not. Like, I'm still training." They're like, "No, but you sound good." And then I started believing it, and I went, you know, I'm no Mariah Carey, but I'm definitely better than your average Joe. And for a lot of the jobs I want to do right now, you just have to be able to hold a note, because I'm applying for dancer singer, not singer dancer. And then I came back, I did that lesson with her, and I went, wow, that's the least anxious I felt ever singing with you in my life. Because normally I would walk into her classes not because of her, but because of me. I'd be anxiety ridden, I'd be terrified, I'd try and prove myself to her all the time. And I left that class going, I feel good. The singing came easier, applying notes came easier, and that's my first point, is my personal struggle right now is putting so much effort into my job that I'm lost sight of being a human being. And I think if you become a human being first, not first, but becoming a human being is as, if not more important than your talent and your work ethic. Because people also want to be around, very South African slang term, lekker people. I'm currently working as a crew member, like I said, and there's this one actor. He's just a lekker person to be around. He's friendly, he talks to everyone, and then he gets on stage, and because it's a Shakespeare, he just embodies the role. And I'm like, how can I become that? And I realized he is so confident in who and what he is that his career is a separate entity to him. And I think that's a big struggle a lot of people have. Or me. Maybe it's just me. And you know what? That's fine, because everyone's experience is individual. That's a big struggle a lot of people have. They don't separate themselves from their job. And that's still something I'm working on right now. I still am very much intertwined into my job. I still am lacking identity outside of my job, but I'm also 20. And that's fine that I'm still learning. But that I have discovered is one of the things that struggles. And okay, let me try and get back to the point of the podcast, what keeps you going. I'm going to share a bit about my uni experience. Not that, like, I've shared a lot already, but I'm going to share more. So, in university, as I said, I got 3 teaching degrees. A lot of people opt into just getting 1. Some people don't get any. Some people get 3 or 4 like I did. I decided to stick with 3, casually. But also, you can ask anyone. If you needed help with something, I was available. I was helping everyone. If you asked me nicely, would try and assist as much as possible. In my final year of university, they joked, but I became the PA of our year group, where I would send like reminders of tasks that I do, whatever. So I was very motivated and very studious. And honestly, I've lost that drive. And I realized I was that studious because I was with the same people every single day, and they saw my growth. So they would every single day, it was very much an external motivation thing. Every single day I would get, wow, well done, that looks good, thank you for doing this, blah, 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 blah. And that is what kept me going. For another example, when I was getting my ballet teaching qualification, this was my third year, I was getting 2 teaching qualifications that year. I was also preparing for my third one the next year. I was also doing quite intense dance exams and teaching like 10 hours a week, as is the norm for me. And I was focusing on really improving my singing and acting aspect as much as possible. So I was just everywhere actually, and I think I had I had a lot of personal traumas that happened throughout my university life as well. More on that maybe in a different podcast, but not today. So I was probably going through something as well during that point, because a lot of things happened during that time. And it came to like, I fear I'm going to use a Gen Z slang, not locked in throughout the year, but I really locked in 2 months before my exam was due, my teaching exam. So basically, just for context, so you guys can understand, you have to learn 7 grades like of dance. You have to know every single exercise, you have to know what comes into it, how to teach it, blah blah blah. It's a lot. You have to be able to create things, you have to be able, for ballet, create music, not play, but like describe what kind of music you want so that the pianist can create it. It's a lot. And it's an hour and a half of you and an examiner, and she asks you any question and you just have to answer it via talking or demonstrating. So it's physically and mentally taxing. I feel like I'm talking so much. 1 second. Anyways, so in preparation for this, I had realized that because the teaching styles of the 2 teachers, I did my modern dance and my ballet examination in the same year, were slightly different. The one teacher was very much deadline focused throughout the year. A lot of deadlines happened, so I felt prepared. But I was prepared for the ballet. I was just talking nonsense. For my ballet exam, I didn't feel prepared whatsoever. Like, the other one was very much a learn yourself, discover it yourself method, which also works. Both work. Some better for others, some better for none. I prefer the deadline because that's how I've realized my brain is very chaotic, actually. And I thrive in method so that I can calm the voices. Anyways, back to the point of my story. This is going to happen a lot. I'm just going to go into tangents. And this is why it's called faking it, because I am faking everything. I would wake up now in preparation 2 months ahead of the exam at 3 or 4 a.m. every single day, start studying until like 5:30 a.m., where I would then take a shower, eat my breakfast, probably watch some material while eating my breakfast. 6:40 I was out the house to do other work, so not my ballet exam, but other work that I had to do for university at the same time in the Uber on the way to my university. So that was 20 minutes of doing other work. Get to university at 7 to start class at 8, but from 7 to 8 I would go into any studio I could find and practice whatever I had to. And then have classes from 8 a.m. until 3:30 earliest. Latest 4:46. If I wasn't in classes, the earliest I think would end is Thursdays, where I would end at 2:15 with my classes, but then I would cover other people's ballet classes. So I would teach until 6:45 every single evening, and then have rehearsal afterwards for shows we did. Get home while I'm having dinner with my family, have them test me the subject material, get to bed with the notes in my hand and fall asleep. And I did this for a solid 2 months. And I don't know how I did it. I genuinely look back now, like right now I have a hectic schedule. It is rough, like hats off to crew members because I am dying on the inside. I start work at like 4 p.m., but I have to leave my house because I live in the buck of nowhere. I have to leave my house at least 3 latest if I want to get there on time. So I have to get to work at 4 p.m., then set up an entire outdoor venue every single day, set up for the show every single day, and do a lot of things until like 11, where we have to strike, like do a whole show as well, where we're backstage and on stage for me, which is why I'm doing my makeup, strike at 10 the entire theatre, and then get home. And we've been doing that. I mean, we've had 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. days a lot the past 3 weeks, because we only opened the show that's going to stick in the same, like, stay for the same run now for the next few months last night. So the first 2 weeks, I started 9th of Jan. We had a bunch of different shows coming in, setting up, striking for each show, like every 2 days. So we'd have to be there at 8 a.m. till like the show's end. But yeah, just doing that, I'm exhausted. And I'm thinking back to in university how many things I would juggle, and I would like wake up at 5 every day, probably get to bed at like 10, 11, studying, and I would do that. And I don't know how I did it. And I am trying to find whatever I had to motivate me back then, because surely it's possible. However, flash forward, end of 4th year, I have achieved a lot in my studying career personally. I was very reliant on external motivation. In other words, we had a prize giving. I was so sure, because you heard my schedule, like the other people worked hard, for sure, 100%. 90% of the students there, wait, I need to take a sip. 90% of the students there work extremely hard, and I cannot take that away from them. But I felt like I had put in a lot of extra hours at times, and I thought after everything I had done, also I had helped with a lot of personal admin for the school itself, with teaching, with like being administrative help for the shows we did. I had thought surely in my final year I would win the Best Student Award trophy. The person it went to, I think she deserves it, 100%. But I remember leaving the ceremony crying because I hadn't won anything. And I realized I relied heavily on prizes and external validation. And that was the start of my transformation. Because throughout uni, I was a teacher's pet, 100%. Was it because I wanted to be irritating? No. Was it because I wanted to learn as much as possible? Yes. And obviously, I mean, I do the same when I teach. If there's a student who shows up every day, applies your notes, listens, maybe will go the extra mile outside of class to help you, you're going to be kinder towards them because they have very low self-esteem. That's me. People listening, I pointed towards myself. They have a very low self-esteem, so you're going to give them more compliments. Well, that's what I'm assuming happened. I don't know. I'm not in the voices of my teachers. But this is what I'm assuming happened after the fact. Because I had a very low self-esteem, so they would give me good notes. And when I got that, I felt good and I could keep going. When people gave me bad notes, my whole world, critiques is fine. I can handle critique. When they gave me criticism about me as a person, my whole life would come crashing down. And I realized in the industry, you have no one but yourself. You have your agent. Your agent sends you work, your agent helps you, your agent's your safety. But in the end, it is still a working relationship, you and your agent. Like, you still have to get up earlier, film that last minute self-tape. You still have to try and look for work yourself all the time. If you're like a dancer, which I am, I have to look for dance work if I want to travel overseas by myself all the time. You still have to go to the gym every day. You still have to do your exercises, your vocal exercise every day. You still have to want to improve every day. You have so much you need to do that once you leave university, for example, for me, some people don't even study, so I don't know how they do it personally. But once you leave that environment, it's really difficult. And this is where we flash forward to my fourth and final year. So because I had started studying at the age 15, right, I had decided at the start, when I was still 15, that I would do an extra year at the university because it's a very personalized course. You can kind of personalize it to what you need. I would, at the end of my 4 years, do an extra year so that I could feel prepared and be better for the industry because I felt like I wasn't good enough. The fourth and final year comes around. I take classes like industry prep, where we talk about our industry and preparation for it and stuff. I take classes like that and I tell them, the lecturers, no, I'm doing this so that I can just focus on the things I want to do next year, like my fifth year. And for if a job comes around, I am able to just leave, you know? We're all under mutual understanding. Halfway through the year, I don't get accepted into the mid-year musical. I crash. I had put in so much effort and so much practice, and I thought I had gotten really good. And what didn't help was the lecturers were like, no, you could have gotten in, it's just your singing ability, which I've now accepted and understood. But I crashed. Then I was like, fine. You can't be in it, you'll be behind the scenes. I became the stage manager for it, which is crazy because I had no experience in tech whatsoever. None. Anyways, I do that. I realize I'm worth more than just a dancing monkey. And I decide, actually, come what may, I am ready for the industry. I am going to not, do an extra year. A lot of arguments ensue personally, and not arguments, but like debates on whether I'm ready or not happen. And fine, I decide I'm ready. I freak out because everyone had been preparing the entire year. I only decided in October. Like, everyone had prepared to graduate the entire year. I decide I have from October onwards. I rush, find a beautiful agent, luckily, and I get a job at a diner where you sing as well. And I apply, I make plans, I do a shit ton. And I'm still training for the singing diner place, which, bear in mind, I'd been told my entire university I can't sing, and now I'm working at a singing diner. That was crazy enough. The work environment isn't the greatest, and I would have had to stay December, which also I had to move in the middle of my fourth and final year. I had to move onto the student campus, which is on site, on the campus itself, because of a personal story, which we might get into, we might not. So in December, I would have had to find accommodation somewhere because my parents stay an hour and a half away now, and I couldn't justify spending 2,000 Rand on petrol every single day because then I wouldn't be making money. So I get to that, and I realize I need my family, and I realize I'm burnt out because I didn't take a break, because I relied on external motivation, and the more external motivation I got, the harder I worked. I remember I would work 6 days a week because Monday to Friday are my personal classes, teach in the afternoons, and Saturdays from 9 until 3 I would have to teach. Sundays, is my rest day, but that is when I did my laundry, cleaned, cooked, meal prepped for the week, did all my homework for the week, and would spend hours in studio still doing other things which isn't needed for that week. So end of fourth year comes and I crash. I went out of work for a good month. I applied to the theatre I'm working at now that started in January. The entirety of December, I was a shell of a human being. I felt bad because I saw my classmates working and I wasn't. And that happened this year as well. I came back from overseas in November, which, bear in mind, I'd worked 6 days a week. In the moment, I didn't think of it this way. Now I do. I had worked 6 days weeks? What, 6 days a week since March until November. Every single week. It's split up throughout the day, so I'd work 10 to 1, 3 to 5, 8 to 11 p.m. So you don't actually have time to reset as a human being. So I would reset after work. I'd stay up late, not even partying, just sitting by the beach, because I just wanted to stay a human being. So I would, after work, go. I'd probably get into bed at like 2 a.m, wake up at 8, so it's 6 hours of sleep I'm functioning off of, which is fine, acceptable, but to function good, you should get 8 hours. And I come back November now. 16 November, I came back home, and I had gone on holiday. 16 November I started my flight home. I arrived home on the 18th of November. I had started my holiday because I went on a 2-week trip to Germany and Netherlands, because I was like, I'm overseas anyway. I don't know when I'll be overseas again. It's going to cost so much to go to South Africa and back. I'm just going to do it. And I didn't have a job throughout November and December. And I felt terrible. I had 1 or 2 gigs in December, but November I had nothing. And I thought, why am I useless? But I'm not. I was avoiding burnout. Because last year, December, the same thing happened. I had nothing. I thought, I'm terrible, I'm useless. No. The industry stops, in South Africa at least, halfway through December. It only starts early Jan. So that's half of the month already gone. You're new to the industry. People don't know you. You've been overseas. Of course no one's going to ring you first because they don't know who you are. And that's fine, because I decided to go overseas. And I want to go overseas so that I can see the world as part of my job and make money so that I can buy an apartment. That's my plan. We'll get into that maybe in a different thing. But people don't know who you are, so of course you're not going to have work. So why do you feel bad? And I had to realize that it's okay to feel bad, because I attach my worth to being a dancer. I'm working on finding myself as a human. I have to find out the hard way that you are not just a kick. You are not just a turn. You are a human being. And what keeps me going is the joy of what I do. A lot of the times, like for example, this one guy at work now, he'll come up to me and he'll ask me, what page in the script are we on? I'm like 30 and it's a 59-page script. He'll go, oh, it's still so long. I, the one that responded to him, yes, it's long still, but aren't we fortunate we aren't working an office job? If you work an office job, firstly, what are you doing here? That's crazy. Love that you're expanding yourself. Well done to you. But also, whoa, hi. But aren't you thankful we aren't working an office job? Like, office jobs would drain me personally. I know people function differently, but me personally, an office job would drain my soul out of my body. And I would rather be exhausted, burnt out, and tired from working so much in this industry, which is the performing industry, because it's what I love and it's what keeps me going, than be burnt out and tired from doing the same thing over and over every day from 9 to 5. So yes, it's long hours, yes, it's a lot of work, but you get to live a life. Like, I got to travel for my job, and that's what keeps me going in a short way. What keeps me going is the difference, the enjoyment, the personalization, the joy I get when I start and finish a task, the people I meet. Because honestly, the things I do and say I could not get away with in an office job. The silly jokes I have, and it's things like that that you need to sit down and write a list and put up on your bedroom wall and say, this is why I keep doing this. This is why I choose this. And I have found a word for 2026. I had to do some soul searching this year again, where these past 2 weeks have actually been very reflective, but I had to do some soul searching, and I realized my word for 2026 is surrender. Not in a religious way, just because I'm not religious, but surrender in the fact of stop worrying. What comes will come. If you know in yourself that you are a hard worker, you have talent, you have ethics, you have morals, you are every day working 1% towards your goal, it will arrive. There are lots of people, like you can search up, lots of celebrities who only got famous in their 40s. And it's not about fame for me now. It used to be, but now it's turned, what keeps me going is the new connections I can make, and the feeling of, this is what I've been, it's so cheesy, but the feeling I leave a theatre with, I want to imprint into others. So it's difficult sometimes when I'm working backstage and not on stage, because I'm very much self-centered in that way. I love being on stage, to be like, oh, I just want to be on stage right now. But then I realize every part is integral, and I'm helping with people leaving with that feeling I have, you know? And that's what keeps me going, is realizing that I'm creating change in people's lives. Like last year when I was working overseas, a lot of the kids I would work with would come watch the shows in the evening, because that's like the main event. The next day, like I was a pirate, it was a pirate show, it's so stupid, but I was a pirate. And the next day they'd come up to me, because I take it and I run with it. They were like, cool, we need, like, just be a pirate. I said, cool, I'll be the crazy pirate who barks at people. So I start barking at people in the show. The next day, the kids would come up to me and go, were you the one that was screaming so much? And I'm like, yes. And then they'd just talk to me for 20 minutes about the show. And to me, that was the stupidest show, because we didn't do much. But they loved it. Like, they were obsessed. And there's kids who, like, there was these other kids who spent hours, and I mean literal hours, on their summer vacation in Greece on our stage when we went there, because it's an amphitheater and it's open to the guests, kind of, and made their own routine, and then they performed it for us. Like, we created that inspiration, and that's what keeps me going. The fact that I think of little me, who got so inspired and so excited, and still gets inspired and excited by the things I see, by the other things people create. I love looking at other people create, and this is also probably another video on that. What made me realize my direction and my end goal is not ultimate performer, famous star, is director, stage manager, that kind of area, because I want to create a product from a vision I have and inspire and help and direct. Anyways, so that's what keeps me going. I'm going to talk about one more thing, because I have to leave for work soon. And that one more thing is just to round up everything. And that is, I'm going to talk about 2 auditions I had. They were both for musicals. The one was for Mamma Mia, which was this year, 2025, and Cats, which is 2024. Bear in mind, 2024, burnout, post-grad. Like, I was actually still studying, like, in my final stages of studying, we were doing our exams, and I had the Cats audition. I remember going to that audition and being petrified. I put on a face of, oh, it's just fun, oh, whatever, but I had put so much worth into this one audition that I couldn't enjoy, I couldn't perform, I was technically stuck. I blocked myself, because I had procrastinated so much, because I wanted it to be perfect, that I'd prepared 2 weeks before the thing, and I like strained my voice, so the singing audition didn't go well. The dance audition did, but the singing audition didn't, which is more story of my life. But there, especially, like I think back to how I sounded, and I was like, wow, they could not think you could sing because you didn't sound okay. And I was stressed, and I didn't get it, and I was sad. I was so sad for 2 weeks after I didn't get it. I got over it. I'm still a bit butthurt about it because it is a dream musical to be in Cats. But I realized I wasn't ready, and that's fine. I have to become a human first. Flash forward to 2025. I start becoming a human. I go to Mamma Mia audition after I'd been overseas, and also the industry is a lot of who knows who, you know? I don't know anyone. I know myself. I've heard names. Do I know them? No. I show up to this audition, and I say, you know what? Fuck it. You haven't been here. You don't know anyone. You have literally nothing to lose. You have other opportunities that you've created for yourself. You have a secure income from January to March already. You are smart enough to make a solution from March onwards, if so you choose not to go back overseas. And I just said, balls to the walls, I'm going to enjoy. And it was the best audition of my life. I had so much fun. I got into the final dance callbacks, which normally I don't. Like I get to first or second round. I went to all the dance callbacks. I didn't get the singing callback because in the final dance callback, I started stressing again, how I used to. And I realize now I shouldn't. Like, yes, put worth to it, because worth definitely creates pressure, and pressure is a privilege, but not so much that your entire life revolves around this one thing. Like, at the end of the day, after you leave the audition room, you're going to go home and sit on your couch. Or you can go home, take a surf, because you're actually a surfer whose job is a dancer. You never meet... I mean, maybe you do, but I haven't met a plumber, for example, who you ask, oh, but like, what do you enjoy? Plumbing. But outside of your job, isn't that your job? Yes, but outside of your job, what do you do? No, I just plumb. They always have other hobbies. So being a person outside of your career is what keeps you going, in shortness. Anyways, I have to leave soon. So that's the podcast. This is the first episode. Wow, I finally did it. I have been planning this for months, and it honestly just got around to me sitting down and doing it. Yeah, if you have any valid points or anything you want to bring up, please do in the comments. Let me know if there's anyone... Well, I'll bring in guests later, but for now I'm just going to find my own voice. But if there's anyone specifically you want me to interview, let me know. I am so happy to do that. And if there's any points you agree with, any points you disagree with, it's an open platform. Be kind. Give criticism. Well, no, give critiques, not criticism. I'm faking it, after all, so my points might not be valid. Yeah, if you feel like anything resonated, let me know, so that we are not alone, because I think there might be other people who feel the same way I do, but are just too scared to speak up, so don't be scared anymore. It's okay. This is a safe space. Any hate will not be tolerated. With that being said, I don't have an outro yet for this one, so I will find one, but for now, please fake it till you make it. You're stunning. You are worth it. You are a star. You are exactly where you need to be.